Today's guest is Medha, a recent immigrant to Canada looking to build her credit. Medha, welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
Tell me your background.
Well, I'm from India. I recently moved to Canada about a year ago, year and a half ago, and I live in Burnaby. And
Why Canada? How did you decide to move to Canada?
well, I moved because of marriage. My husband lived in Canada before.
Yes.
And we got married, then it made more sense to move to Canada because BC is beautiful, and he's a tenured professor, and
So
he works here, yeah.
Your husband had roots here.
Yeah.
But I'm a little confused because how did you meet your husband if you're in India and he's in Canada? How did that come to be?
He's Indian too. He lives in Canada for a few more years than me.
Yes.
We met through friends, complicated friends introduced us, and we spoke on Skype and on the phone and things like that.
So did you meet him first virtually, meaning just through Skype?
Yeah, we just met on Skype.
Wow.
Yeah.
So kind of like a blind date, but through the internet.
Pretty much. It's probably like a date, except you're at your home and he's at his home. And
Yes.
he was actually in his office, so.
And was it love at first sight?
Yeah, I'd like to think so, but we took our time to get married, but yeah.
So how did you then eventually meet, or before I ask that, how long were you doing this internet getting to know each other before you met in person?
For a while, almost a year.
Okay.
And then we wouldn't talk so much all the time. We met in the beginning, we'd talk a lot. And then about a year later, he came to India, and I didn't know he was coming. And he was like, "Oh, I'm here, let's meet up." So we met in person, and then we decided to get married. He asked me, and I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So we got
when he
married.
asked you to marry him, did he say, "But I want you to move to Canada"?
Yeah, well, that was afterwards, but I kind of understood it from the beginning.
You were
because-
ready.
Yeah, I was ready. I was already working in India and things like that, but
What kind of work did you do in India?
oh, I was a professor, assistant professor in a school in India.
What type of field? What?
Business.
In business.
HR management, organizational behavior, and things like that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And then when you moved to Canada, did you find it hard to get a job?
Oh, yeah, that's so difficult for somebody moving into Canada because your qualifications are different and everything. But I was really lucky because my husband's at SFU. He had some contacts and things like that, so I wrote to a few professors. So I got a job as a postdoc, and I moved here. To
Good.
SFU.
So because you were married, it made it a lot easier going
yeah.
through the immigration process
Absolutely.
as well.
And also because he is here and he knows about the whole process and everything.
So you're working.
Oh yeah.
So
yes, I
you're
do.
married, you're living in Canada. Do you miss your family in India?
I do, but we just went to meet them recently, so I'm good. But I do miss them a lot.
No! Well, we won't tell them that, right?
No.
Do they come and visit you in Canada?
Yeah, in a couple of months they're planning to visit us. My husband's parents were here last year. My parents are going to be here this year for a while.
Well,
yeah.
it sounds like you're settling into Canada quite nicely.
Yeah, I love it here.
So what's your big question for me today?
Oh, my big question is, as a new immigrant in Canada, how can I build my credit?
Building credit is extremely important. So don't go away. Learn how to build credit after the break.
The Wealthy Life is brought to you by investment dealer Raymond James. Life well planned. See what a Raymond James advisor can do for you.
Welcome back. We're here with Medha to learn how to build credit in Canada. So Medha, welcome to Canada. It sounds like you're doing great. You're married, you're employed, but you want to build some credit. Why do you think building credit is important?
Oh, I think it's part of being in Canada, living here. So we want to buy a house or anything, you need credit worthiness.
You do, you got it right. Eventually, you're going to want to borrow money for something, and buying a house is a good thing to borrow money for. Building good credit is good for everybody, not just new immigrants. And so the tips we're about to go through today will help all of our viewers. So some ways of building credit. Number one, have a credit card.
Yeah.
Do you have a credit card?
I do.
Okay, so you should be building credit. Have you used it?
No, I haven't. I'm kind of nervous about it. I'm afraid I will use it and then I won't pay it, then I will have a bad credit.
Okay,
I think so.
so the one thing you need to know is having a credit card. That's great that you were given one because it's sometimes hard to get a credit card. But if you don't use it, you're not building credit. So you have to use it to build credit.
Yeah.
One of the things I suggest is just set a little limit for yourself. Maybe, do you have a car?
A car?
Yeah, or
No, I
No?
don't have a car.
how about groceries? Do you
no.
do you do the grocery shopping?
Yeah.
Why don't you use your credit card to buy your groceries?
Oh, okay.
And I want you to save, every time you go to get groceries, save the receipt.
Oh, okay.
You will have money in the bank to pay for your groceries, because is that how you normally pay for it?
Yeah.
Save your receipts every time you do that, so that at the end of the month you know you need to leave that money in your bank account to pay your credit card off. And set up your credit card to automatically pay in full every month out of your bank account.
Oh, okay.
You'll never miss a payment. You'll always pay it off, and by doing that, you'll build credit. So having a card alone isn't enough.
Yeah.
Now, do you have other friends who are immigrants?
Yeah, I do. I have this one friend who's also moved in from India, and she doesn't work. She has a small business,
Yes.
and she has a lot of trouble getting a credit card from the
Okay, so
bank.
she's also trying to build credit, but
Yeah.
hasn't been able to get a credit card
Yeah.
because she's self-employed.
Yes.
Typical issue. She may not know if she saves a little bit of money aside, even if it's $500, she could go to the bank and put that in a savings account and use that savings as collateral to get a credit card from the bank.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that way she can start building credit. Her credit limit will be small, but the bank says it's no problem because she's got collateral. If she doesn't make a payment, they'll just use the money out of that.
That's good
So that's a
advice.
good tip for her, and that's
Yeah.
actually a good tip for anyone who's having trouble getting a credit card for the first time. Some other ways is make sure some of the bills are in your name, your phone, your cable. Do you have a cell phone?
Yeah.
Good. Cell phone, most cell phone companies, they report your payments. So you start building credit by having a cell phone.
Okay.
So you're on your way there. Other bills in your name?
Compass card.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it.
So not all things and not all bills in your name will allow you to build credit. And you don't drive, so I take it you don't need to get a car, because a car loan would be another way to start building credit in Canada. But start small. Something else people don't realize is you actually build credit faster if you don't pay your credit card off in full every month.
Really?
I know, but I'm going to throw that out the window. I don't care if it takes you a little bit longer. Paying your credit card off in full every month is just a good habit to get into. And one last tip is look at getting a line of credit on your checking account with your bank. That way, when you pay your credit card off automatically every month, in case you're a little bit short, it'll just go into your line of credit.
Oh, okay.
So I hope that answers your question, and thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Stay tuned. Conversations you should have before repartnering after divorce when we return.